Welcome to the S.O.S podcast network. This is the MLB show on Sauter on Sports. I am Mark Sauter. He is Tom Brown. It has been a little bit since I've been on. Tom, thank you for holding the reins on our NL Central preview last week. My voice is back. You can hear me. I was fighting it a bit in our AL preview, and my voice is back. It's not all the way back. I'm still hanging on. I've been hanging out in the shadows. My whole family's been fighting this crazy sickness for weeks now, but I am back. Lots to talk about. Opening weekend coming out with a bang. ABS, young players signing, injuries already. So much to get to in such little time. Before we get to all that, Tom, how we feeling on a baseball Wednesday, brother?
Nothing better than the beginning of baseball season, in my opinion, right? Like, they're nobody's 0-0 anymore, but hope still springs eternal for all 30 fan bases. Everybody's got something to look forward to. Maybe the Mets fans are already tired of Bo Bichette, but I know and you know that's going to go much better for them very shortly. So it's the most fun time of the year. It's springtime. Everybody's hopeful. Later summer will happen, I'm told. So nothing better than
Yeah.
this.
I mean, listen, Bo Bichette, Mets fans, he will hit very well. It'll come, and he won't be good defensively. That's just what, especially he wasn't a good shortstop, and he won't be good at a position that he's never played before. So, that's what it's going to be. Welcome to the Bo Bichette experience. You'll be fine. It'll all happen. A lot of chalk, a lot of normalness. Blue Jays, Yankees, both 4-1. The AL Central is a wash. Seattle, a bit of a disappointing start. The Angels are 500. They'll be good for another 4 or 5 weeks. The Marlins, just like you and I predicted, not too shabby at all. Phillies offense taking a while to start up. Milwaukee, the classic 82.5 over under. Turns out they're a pretty good baseball team. The Dodgers are just being the Dodgers, pretty chalk up and down, a couple surprises here and there. There's lots to get to. First, the topic du jour, as it were. Everybody's talking about it. We're not going to spend a ton of time talking about it, but I did want to touch on it. Early ABS impressions. I have a couple thoughts. I think that, first, I've already been chatting for a bit. Tom, I'll let you take it on this one to start off. Early ABS impressions through 7 days of Major League Baseball 2026. What do you got so far on the ABS?
Yeah, I think they did ABS in spring training last year and spring training this year. The World Baseball Classic players didn't have it, obviously, during that
And
tournament.
the minors too. Did they not have it in AAA last year, or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, they did have it in AAA. Yeah. They've had it in AAA for a bit. And it's been seamless mostly, right? It's kind of, as an entertainment factor, you can really see that the fans in the stadiums are getting really into it. It's actually an additional. You always worry about these reviews and whatever. It's the most boring thing for fans, but these ones aren't boring at all. They're so lightning fast. Fans in the ballpark get right into it. Either cheering or booing. I'm shocked, honestly, when MLB does something and it comes out this well and seamless. The technology hasn't let them down, even in a few games that I've seen where the umpire's audio hasn't worked. Fans know what's going on. They see the very obvious hand signal, and it's not hard to get excited about whether this can be a ball or a strike, and you get to see whether the umpire was right or wrong. I love it. I think it's great. We've seen there's obviously going to be some adjustment for players, like seeing when it's better to use it. I think most likely next year we'll probably see them get a second or a third challenge, maybe at the seventh inning or something like that, just because there's really been no downside to it. The umpires seem honestly happy to have the calls be corrected when they're wrong. It doesn't seem to be there's no downside to it. Well done, MLB, for actually implementing something positive for the game. I think it's no notes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that they'll add a third one. I don't know yet if they should. I'm not on that train yet. I think we obviously need way more time with it and see. Maybe I like the two for the sheer fact, like, was it yesterday or the day before where the Boston Red Sox used both of them before the fifth inning? Didn't have any for the rest of the game. I kind of like two because it's like if you get them right, you keep them, and if you get them wrong, you lose them. And it's like kind of like game management, right? It's the same with the NBA with the challenge system. It's the same in hockey with the coaches challenge. We've seen it obviously with the red flag in the NFL for years now, but there is a time management, and I think to start the season, and obviously we're in the start, but I just mean at the very, very beginning, teams got a little horny right off the gate and just like, challenge. And then as the weekend went on, we've seen people, okay, like we got to choose carefully. I heard people talking about this today. This is not my own original thought, but and I can't remember who I heard talking about it, but I thought it was really interesting is not only when in a game do you use your challenge, but when in an at bat. If it's 0-0 count, is that really the right time? 1-1 count, that third pitch swings the at bat, right? And so maybe we don't see it at an 0-0 count. Maybe we see it more at a 1-1 count or a 2-1 count, or obviously the other way around when you have two strikes. That kind of stuff I'm really curious to see. I am a purist in any sport. I want leagues to make adjustments that make the game better and make the viewing experience from my couch better without changing the fabric of the game. And I think that was the big thing for purists when it came to the ABS is we want the human element, right? Those two words are the most used words in baseball over the last, half decade is human element. We want to hate the umps. We want the umps to be able to make mistakes or get the call right themselves or whatever. But you kind of don't even notice it until you have to use it. There's only two per team. It's literally the batter has 2 seconds. I'm curious if that goes up a second or two over the next couple of years. But the batter, the catcher, and the pitcher, they literally have to make a split second decision. There's no like looking at the dugout, yes or no. Like this is yes or no. Like you're either doing it or you're not. I like that. And so, yeah, man, I think it's great. I like the idea of, I've been hearing the conversation of maybe we just go full ABS and take the umpires out from behind home plate. I don't want that. And you know what? If the umpires are upset that they're not getting yelled at or booed or that they're not being made look as bad as they used to be, all you got to do is say that a player missed first base when he clearly didn't, and then have visual evidence that you weren't even looking at the play to begin with. So that's all you have to do, and people will realize that you're an idiot anyway. But I do think that we're going to see over time how good these umpires actually are behind the plate. Like there's obvious egregious calls, missed strikes, missed balls, but for the most part, these umpires do a good job. And I think we are going to notice that more and more as this ABS experiment goes on.
Yep. Completely agree.
All right, moving on quickly. Opening weekend thoughts. I have one, you have one. What was your opening? Obviously, lots of baseball. Baseball is probably the hardest sport to keep track of because it's just every day. It comes at you fast. What's one opening weekend thought that you took away? And it can be from yesterday. It just whatever. The opening week of the MLB.
Yeah, this week, right? First week of the season, after the first weekend of the year, we get the first set of power rankings from all of the media outlets
Yep.
that do power rankings, and then you get my favorite part, the comment section on power rankings. Going into yesterday's games, there were 10 teams in the majors. That's one third of them sitting at 3-1. There were another three teams sitting on 3 wins, 3-2, because of the unbalanced schedule. So just 13 out of 30 teams, juggernauts. And I loved watching the power rankings commenters, particularly Reds fans and Braves fans, already week one of the season out in full force, irate that they are not getting enough, that they are not getting enough respect from the national writers. It's terrific. You're right. You are in a 10-way tie for first place, so clearly the power rankings should have you number one. I love that with fans. I mean, that's a lot of passion. It's also, I mean, I'm not sure what they think power rankings are. If you want the validation that comes along with being in a 10-way tie for first place in the majors, I would maybe consider looking at the standings. I don't need somebody else telling me something else about that. And how would you? I mean, Atlanta definitely their fans, um, because of alphabetical order. They have a real beef being anywhere but at the very top. I don't know. It's fun. It's way too early to draw any conclusions. It's certainly too early to draw any good conclusions. Yeah, I guess we could talk. The Yankees looked fantastic against the Giants. The Giants looked awful against the Yankees. That's just 3 games. One team that has a lot of really good pitching and always start the season very well against
Well,
another team that's always streaky and looked pretty discombobulated with a manager who's never been in the pros before. So I don't know. I'm not drawing any conclusions from that except for to reinforce what we already knew, which is that the Yankees are good, and that the Giants are probably on a knife's edge a little bit. But yeah, fun to watch baseball.
Well, I'll use that to my good friend Joe from the NFL show, amongst other things. Do we feel Stanton's early start is sustainable? I can't remember the last time it looked this good. As far as a hitting hitter goes, why not? I mean, to me, what are your thoughts, Tom?
As long as he stays healthy, I mean, he's refined his approach the last few years. He's no longer, and he knows he's not anything but a power threat, right? He's not trying to work 4 or 5 good at bats in a game. He's trying to launch bombs, and as long as he stays healthy, and hopefully he does, yeah, I think the only thing stopping him from continuing to put up ludicrous power per plate appearance numbers is the health of his wrists, shoulders, knees, hamstrings, back, everything else. Yeah, no, I think it's in terms of on a per plate appearance basis. Yeah, it's definitely sustainable. You trust that guy as much as anybody. He's been doing it a long time. He's changed his approach. His body's changed, obviously, and he knows how to use it. One of these years, his contract with the Yankees is going to expire, Mark. 2036, I think it is. And hopefully he's got enough left in his tank to go sign for a couple of years with the Colorado Rockies and be the DH at whatever they call Coors Field now and make a run. Hopefully make a run at, if not Barry Bonds' all-time record, then at least like let's see how far he can launch a baseball if he gets whatever portion of 162 healthy games he has that year. Yeah. In terms of sustainable, yes.
Love to see you boys. Need my MLB fix. Love to see you, Joe. Speaking to Joe in the NFL show, lots has been going on. We have not done an football show since the Super Bowl. And lots has obviously gone on since then. And Joe will be back with me in the next week or two to talk free agency, talk off season, and talk the draft as well. Shout out, Joe. Appreciate you. All right. Moving on to my opening weekend thought. And this is a self-serving one, and this is a homer one. The Toronto Blue Jays stubbed their toe on Monday night against the Rockies. Tough outing overall. Other than that, including last night, the pitching has been phenomenal. At least the starting pitching has been phenomenal. Everyone's already out for Little's head. Of course, Jeff Hoffman, his first outing since giving up a home run in the ninth of Game 7. He blows a save, of course. But the hitting has been good. The starting pitching, Max Scherzer last night throwing a beauty of a start. I think for me, what I took away from this Blue Jays, and I'm not just saying this as a Blue Jays guy, a Toronto guy. I think they are the defending AL champs. They went toe to toe. Were maybe the better team in that World Series against the Dodgers. This is absolutely relevant. That season was unexpected to say the least. And a big thing for me was, yes, they made moves in the offseason to be better. Yes, they lost Bo Bichette, but they added some really good pieces in the starting lineup and arms in the rotation. I just still needed to see it with my own eyes. Like, what we saw last year was insane compared to the year before and the year before that. And yeah, I'm a believer. I'm, drinking the Kool-Aid, but what are we actually going to see from this team? Can they actually do it again? The vibes are up, man. Like, Clement doing his thing. The early eye test on Okamoto was very good, both defensively and offensively. This Blue Jays team is going to be good. And I know it's only 6 games or 5 games or whatever it was, but I think it's okay as a Blue Jays fan to have some doubt if this team can really do it again. I don't get that vibe from across the country. I think everyone's bought in on this team hook, line, and sinker based on what we saw in the postseason. But baseball is a funny sport, man. Things can snap back to reality on a dime. And I was just really impressed with what I saw from the Jays the opening weekend. And the A's, they can hit, they can't pitch. And that's going to be a really fun combination to watch throughout the season. If you're up at 10:30 on the East Coast and you need to watch some fun baseball, turn on the A's, because either way it goes, it's going to be fun. I feel like we're going to see a lot of 8-7 baseball games where the A's are concerned down in Sacramento this season. So that's another takeaway from that series. All right. This is your time to shine, Tom. Early injuries across the MLB. It's unavoidable. You hate to see it, especially this early in the season. Early injuries. Update the people. What do we got going on?
Yeah, I hate to see them. You talked about, we can start with the Blue Jays, Cody Ponce. Early observations don't mean nearly as much as early injuries, which can actually change a team's season before it really has a chance to begin. Cody Ponce pitching for the Blue Jays a couple of days ago. Their putative 4th starter out for probably most of the year with a sprained ACL. We've had some other injuries, though, early that could change things for some of the contending clubs in baseball. Jackson Chourio had a broken hand, came up lame on opening day. He should be back end of April. And Chase DeLauder yesterday, rookie for the Cleveland Guardians. He looked fantastic in his first 3 games. He hit 4 home runs, and then fouled the ball off his foot. Images was negative. Apparently, the X-rays came back negative, but he's off today, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, it's okay. I hate injuries. The only people who like injuries are personal injury lawyers, and I'll be honest. I'm no better than 50-50 on personal injury lawyers either, unless one of them wants to sponsor this segment of our show, in which case I probably like them better. But yeah, it's not all bad injury news. Some guys are getting closer to being back. Spencer Strider has no timeline for his on the Braves. Spencer Strider has no timeline for his rehab assignment, but there's been no news when it comes to injuries and guys coming back. No news is good news, and there's none there. Seiya Suzuki, Cubs outfielder, hurt in the World Baseball Classic. He's trending to be coming back. There's been no news there either. Nick Lodolo, Reds pitcher, he's already started his rehab assignment. Chourio should be back in a couple of weeks for the Brewers Yankees triumvirate. I know 2/3 of it. Fans will be happy to know Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole both making progress on target to return to their rotation, which is nuts when you think how good their pitching already is. And no, you don't expect Garrett Cole to come back at Cy Young levels, but they don't need him to. Look at how good they already are. It's an embarrassment of riches. The third of their injured everyday players, Anthony Volpe, also looks like he's coming back soon. I just don't know how happy Yankees fans are about that one. We'll find out. And then, yeah, Zach Wheeler looks good throwing bullpen sessions for the Phillies. No timeline for Joe Musgrove on the Padres. And that's pretty much it for news on the injury report thus far, Mark.
Have you seen anything? Because I have not. It's ho hum in typical Toronto fashion. But my guy Java Joe, what's it look like for you, Savage? After that playoff run, I'm eager to see him back out there. Aren't we all? Have you heard anything new on the Savage front?
He's throwing minor league games at their spring complex. He's out with what's called what they're calling a shoulder impingement. You know, there's nothing impinging on his shoulder that's stopping him from throwing in minor league games. A lot of speculation, none of it confirmed by the club, none of it all very hush hush, right? I think the only thing impinging on his shoulder was that they wanted that extra roster spot to keep their Rule 5 pitcher.
Right.
That was the impingement was the 26-man roster rules. So he's on the IL getting his major league salary, and they did ramp him down a little bit. He'll be ready to come up soon, I would imagine. They have to save face, right? It's not allowed to put people on the IL with fake injuries, even though every team does in fact do it. So yeah, he'll be. There's nothing wrong with him, and nothing. There's no red flags, nothing bad. It's just unfortunate timing. And yeah, they started with 8 starting pitchers. Now they have 4. So I feel like his shoulder may be less impinged upon pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty par for the course. All right, as we get this baseball show rolling, not today, but just overall, we started it during the playoffs, and this is a relatively new show, and we're figuring out what works, and we're working out the kinks and all of that good stuff. So when I say this is a new segment, it's all kind of new, but weekly, Tom, you are going to update us on the rookies and the young players, not always necessarily rookies, but young players across the MLB in what I am calling Tom's Rookie Corner. Once again, sponsors, Tom's Rookie Corner brought to you by, I will use this opportunity to quickly shout out First Round Collectibles, promo code SPORTS10 for 10% off any sports card in the First Round Collectibles store. First Round Collectibles, promo code SPORTS10, 10% off any card in the First Round Collectibles store. And Total Apex Sports, Total Apex Media. Respect the hustle. Thank you to them for having us on board live on their X account as well. Baseball, football, basketball, tennis, hockey, cricket, the list goes on. Soccer, World Cup's coming up. Anything you need to know in the overall sports news scape, fantasy, betting, all that good stuff. Total Apex Sports has you covered. Tom, update us on the rookies from across the MLB through a week.
Yeah, so not really enough to say about how the young pitchers look, right? We've got Nolan McLean, top tier prospect on the Mets. I might be his 4th favorite fan in the world. So at some point we'll have to talk about pitching, but it'll be after people have had more than one start. So I can at least pretend to be objective. He's perfect in every way and can do no wrong. There's also, Brandon Sproat, who was traded to the Brewers, and a really interesting Japanese young pitcher, Tetsuya Imai, who had a rough first outing. So did Sproat. Not enough data on those guys. Hugely interesting, especially infield rookie crop on the position player side this year. We'll start with Chase DeLauder. We just mentioned him. We'll see how that injury works out for him. He fouled the ball off of his foot yesterday. His whole minor league career was marked by weird freak injuries, causing him to miss a lot of time. But there are a bunch of other players, infielders, he's an outfielder, making their debuts this year. Before we even get to Connor Griffin, before we even get to Colt Emerson, who haven't made their debuts yet this year, but have made headlines in other ways. We've got J.J. Weatherholt, second baseman, shortstop prospect for the Cardinals. Made the opening day roster, looks fantastic. We've got Kevin McGonigal, starting shortstop, everyday starting shortstop for the AL Central favorite Detroit Tigers. Again, looks fantastic so far. We've got Sal Stewart, utility-ish player, should get everyday at-bats for the Cincinnati Reds. He's raking. And then, in the wings, we're waiting to see what happens with Connor Griffin, with Colt Emerson, and with potentially, let me check my notes here, and we'll get to that in a minute. But Cooper Pratt from the Brewers, and then of course this year, very excitingly, we have three. I mentioned one of them already, the pitcher, but we have two position player rookies, veteran NPB players, veteran Japanese professional league players, Murakami and Okamoto for the Blue Jays. Now, when guys come over from Japan, obviously, really, really mysterious. It's the second best league in the world. It's also just a very different league from Major League Baseball. They play a different style of baseball, much more contact oriented, even more so than we saw becoming more popular with the likes of the Brewers and the Jays last year in the majors, and a league that's been in a dead ball era for about 10 years, which makes the prodigious power numbers that you saw from Murakami, that you saw from Okamoto, that you saw from Seiya Suzuki before he came over, um, somewhat more impressive. But the other thing is, you don't really know. I mean, in addition to the language barrier, in addition to living in a different country, in addition to literally everything being different, right? Playing every day instead of having Mondays off every week, which they do in MPB. In addition to, I mean, just massive cultural differences, driving on the other side of the road, et cetera, et cetera. They've got the ball is different. The ballparks are different. The pitchers attack you differently. And in Major League Baseball, the average fastball is just faster. It's not that they don't have guys in NPB who throw upper 90s. They do. We see a bunch of them come over to the major leagues and play for major league teams, right? And so they do have that, but they don't have the depth of that. You're not facing that every night. And once you get into the bullpen, you're definitely not facing that with pitcher after pitcher after pitcher. Think about the Yankees bullpen, right? Everybody throws 99 plus. You don't see that in Japan. So what you worry about with Japanese players is sometimes hitters is whether or not they can handle that heat, whether they can adjust to it, and whether they can make that work long term. It's way too early to know, but I have been charting how Murakami and Okamoto have done against high leverage, like high heat fastballs, 96 miles an hour and above, right? Murakami has not faced a ton of it since opening day with Jacob Mizorowski in Milwaukee. Mizorowski walked him twice. I watched the game. I'm not sure how much of that was being careful of Murakami's power, and how much of that was Mizorowski's typical, effectively wild kind of nature. Very fun pitcher to watch. But yeah, Murakami, no problem though, right? Hit home runs in his first 3 games, none on fastballs over 93 miles an hour. So we'll have to see how that goes. He wasn't swinging through a bunch of high heat. He wasn't swinging through a bunch of stuff. He just didn't really face a bunch of high velocity fastballs, kind of very small sample, random stuff, right? Okamoto, on the other hand, in Toronto first series, swung through some loose Severino. They really started hammering him with heat in the zone, and he swung through quite a bit of it the first couple of games. But of course, you'll note he now has 2 home runs on the season because he took 96 miles an hour, 110 miles an hour off the bat, opposite field in Game 3 against Oakland, against the A's. That looked great, and then in the 4th game of the year, he took a 99 mile an hour fastball over the center field fence, So mixed bags there, but two of the things in that mixed bag are home runs off of really elevated velocity, and yeah, they were, especially the one against off Dollander, the Rockies pitcher was a meatball for sure, but it was a 99-mile-an-hour meatball, and he had no problem turning it around. So by the time we have enough data points on this, then probably the Statcast pages at Baseball Savant will have more of a story to tell. But none of that stabilizes for the first 100 or so at bat. So it's just fun to check the pitch charting via ESPN and see how these two Japanese sluggers are adjusting to the massive velocity of American Major League Baseball. And so far, so good.
Love it. Love it. And that is Tom's Rookie Corner, brought to you by Total Apex Sports First Round Collectibles and Future Injury Lawyers. All right. Moving on, prospect signings. Again, Tom, this is your expertise, but I want to pose this with a question to start before we wrap up the podcast. Cole Emerson, Cole, right? I think my mind's blanking. Colt Emerson signing $95 million with the Seattle Mariners. Why am I blanking? It's the Mariners, right? I had this written down, but I couldn't. And so, listen, whether it's hockey, every sport, even hockey, I don't pay a lot of attention to prospects and to the college, whatever. Like, this is it is what it is for me. I only have so much time. Tell me why anyone would pay, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't have. I think it's a really interesting conversation. We don't even have time for a full conversation on it because I think it is really interesting, the pros and the cons from both sides, the player and the team, to sign a player who has yet to play in the MLB to a $95 million contract. I think now $95 million sounds big, and it is. It's $11 million a year, which is you can swallow that if this turns out to be a bust. Obviously, you'd rather not, but it's not earth-shattering yearly money. But tell me, in your opinion, why or why not is this a good deal right out of the gate without even taking one pitch in the MLB?
Yeah, so I mean, he's a left-handed hitting shortstop prospect. It's 8 years, 95. So it covers his first 3 pre-arbitration years, which are basically league minimum years, right? And then his 3 arbitration years, and then they get 2 years of what would be his free agency. Plus, on the end of this contract, they have a 1 year, so it could be up to 9 years and 130. There's $10 million in escalators over the first 8 years, and then there's a $25 million 9th year team option, right? So they're giving themselves the option also of extending this at a below market rate. The idea here is everybody's chasing the same kind of ghost. Everybody wants that Evan Longoria contract that the Tampa Bay Rays signed years and years and years ago. For a young player, unproven, they sign him, they have him under contract, under control for way longer than you typically have a young player, and they have cost certainty. They know how much they're going to pay him, and there's at no point a chance of somebody else coming in and offering him more and then him leaving, right? So we've seen this work well. We've seen this work poorly. The Brewers signed Jackson Chourio to this basically the same contract a couple of years ago. This is a slightly higher dollar value, but because of inflation, it probably at the time slightly less than what the Brewers valued Chourio at. The point is what the Mariners also know, because they did the same thing with Julio Rodriguez, is if they wait until later in his rookie year, the price goes up. Once he's proven, right, that 95 million, that's 180 million, 195 million, right? Once we've seen proof of concept, then he loses a lot of his motivation to sign for this. He gets a bag, right? He gets guaranteed money, 95 guaranteed $1 million, which which sounds great when you're a young player. He's also a top prospect, so there's some certainty there. They obviously know the player. He's been in their system. They like the player. He's been in their system. But really what they think is that over the course of this contract, they're going to get a better value out of this contract than they would by waiting. He's got some power. He's a middle infielder. JP Crawford, their incumbent shortstop, is a free agent at the end of this year. So they obviously think with this isn't just a replacement for JP Crawford. It's an upgrade on JP Crawford in the medium to long term. They also no longer have to worry about shenanigans with his service time, which we see that with teams all the time. When do you bring up a prospect? When does you start a service time clock? When do you do this? When do you do that? That's a headache they no longer have. They don't care. They have complete certainty over this. Also, it's a possible point of friction between player and team, right? I mean, we all remember Chris Bryant's relationship with the Chicago Cubs soured almost immediately before even being brought up back in the day, because they held him down for service clock reasons. So they sidestep any of that kind of potential drama. And ultimately, they're just happy to have this player at this price. Will it work out? Yeah, realistically, the player option the team option on the end for the $25 million contract, to make, what he's going to make in his ARB years, as long as he stays healthy, this is probably roughly fair through then. But then to get 2 free agent years, it's a really good deal. I think overall they're going to be paying $12 to $18 million, 12, 14, then 16, then 18 in his 29, 30 in the years 2029, 2030, 2031, and 2032. So those are, his first 2 free agent years. They've got him under contract for 16 and
I have no idea if Tom froze or if I froze at all. Either way, I should probably talk just in case that this is Tom freezing. I am going to just quickly check that this is Tom and not me, because it would be incredibly awkward for everybody involved if it was. Yes, okay, that is Tom. Yeah, no, I find it very curious. I think this is a really fascinating conversation. I really I think it's a fascinating conversation. I think for the player, it is awesome because you're getting money guaranteed over the course of a long time. So if you get hurt or if you turn out not to be very good, whatever it is, it's if you're not very good, if you get hurt, either way, you get money. On the other hand, Tom, I was just saying that it is also, it could be a disservice to you as the player, because what if you turn out to be way better than everybody thought you were going to be, including yourself? But I think it's a good, safe play. You're already getting life-changing money. You wouldn't have to work another day in your life if your leg got chopped off tomorrow. From the team's perspective, it's a no-brainer. Like, yes, $95 million is a lot of money. Yes, it's a big risk. But on the other hand, like you said, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much money. Like, it is, but it's not when you're talking in context of what we are talking about. All right, there's lots of other stuff that we wanted to get to. Time is our enemy, as is technical difficulties, but either way, thank you guys, everybody, for joining us today. Really do appreciate it. Before the end of the week, we will be talking some NHL. Next week, we'll be back with MLB. We'll be talking football as the playoffs approach for both hockey and basketball. We will be getting back on the hockey swing and starting to do more basketball stuff as well. So lots more coming. We're getting our feet wet here, getting the ball rolling, getting things swinging. I don't know. That's the word that came to mind. So that's the word I am going to use. But to everybody hanging out with me today, listening, and Tom listening to the podcast on Spotify, we appreciate it. Please go check out YouTube, like, subscribe, all of that cliche rhetoric. We appreciate it. One last time, Total Apex Sports and Total Apex Media. Shout out to them for having us on board as always. And First Round Collectible. Promo code SPORTS10 for 10% off any sports card in the entire First Round Collectibles store. Everybody, have a great night. Have a great week. Join me for Hockey Talk later in the week. Football and baseball next week. We will see you next time.